All right, going live in 3, 2, 1. Well, this is Olivia on Air. We're to episode 31. Olivia, how are you doing this evening?
I got a little bit of a cough, but other than that, I'm okay. So if I start wheezing, I'm just gonna mute.
That's fine. No, everyone, I think you sound perfectly fine. So it's just I do notice a little bit, but I don't think it's going to hurt anything. We'll be perfect. We'll be fine as long as you're okay with physically. Your voice sounds perfectly fine for what we're doing here. So
Maybe I sound a little cooler with a scratchy, scrunchy voice. It's perfect for the Cars movie because cars are cool. Oh my gosh, what
there
great
you go.
timing!
So before we went live, we were talking about the colder temperatures, and I wanted to save this before we went live until we went live. Um, I heard that the temperature is going to get so cold where you're located that the iguanas are going to start falling off of the trees. Have you heard about that?
I heard about it when I first moved here. But I was in an area where there were a lot of iguanas, and now I don't really see many iguanas here, right? We see a lot of small lizards.
Hmm.
Um, and I hope they're okay. I don't want any of them to die and freeze, but it's more like small frogs, small lizards. It's not really. I don't think I've ever seen an iguana where I am,
Ah,
which
the
is kind of sad, disappointing, honestly.
yeah,
I've never seen a crocodile either.
oh, that's something I think you don't want to see. I don't know unless the I don't know. I'd be kind of afraid to be too close to a crocodile. Yeah. Is this the lizards that you see? I'm curious. Let me bring this up here. Do they look like this?
I've seen one of those before, but they're not those ones. They're like, I don't know what they're called. They're just these little like brownish. They're not that vibrant, and they don't have the crest there on the chin. But they're just these little brownish lizards that are too fast for me to catch and
Okay,
pet, and appreciate. But
gotcha. The
they're all over the fence in the summer. It's great.
I have lizards that live on my property here in Virginia. So, but I don't see them during the wintertime, obviously. But I brought those other ones up. These are called anoles, Anole. And my sister, when she lived in Florida, said they were all over the place. So that's why I thought I'd bring this up. I wasn't sure if you were seeing the same things that she used to. I forget. I think she lived in Miami though. So
Yeah, yeah. There seems to be more, well, I wouldn't say more, but just maybe a little bit more like vibrant and colorful wildlife on in my limited experience on the East Coast, or yeah, on the East Coast rather than the West Coast, because my first college that I went to when I first moved here, I was on the West Coast. I was in Miami area. Um, and That's where I saw the iguanas and like these really beautiful birds and stuff like that. And here we have like ibises, which are really nice. And there's a lot of wildlife here. And we got my mom a bird feeder for Christmas, and finally some birds have started to visit us, so that's exciting too.
hmm. But no frozen iguana, no iguanas falling from the trees.
No, no, unfortunately not.
What I heard was that the temperature is going to drop so cold this evening where you're located that they're going to start falling from the trees. But people said, don't worry, it won't hurt them as long as they're not too high up. Their bodies can handle it. And by tomorrow, they should hopefully within a day everything will be back to normal for them, so they'll be okay. So
Right.
it's not to worry about them. It's something that they're probably prepared. They're naturally prepared for anyway, so it's not a big deal. So.
Right.
So before we go too far, we got a couple hellos. Hello, Zmoon and Olivia from OD. Hello. Good evening.
Hello.
And Des and Haas play with 3.0 saying hi, Zmoon, and hi, Olivia.
Hello.
Cool. And also before we go too far, don't forget if you'd like to support what we're doing, we have an affiliate link in the description. That's for NordVPN. That's if you'd like to uh, if you'd like to purchase the service that they have, that's at a discounted rate than what you would normally get it at. That would help support what we're doing here, and I have endorsed it in the past. It's definitely a reliable service. It's You can hide your location. You can also hide your personal information from different websites, And I know we've talked about this before, but you can also, and I've never done this, but you can also stream videos from different parts of the world if you're in different parts of the country where that's restricted. So that helps as well. So if you decide to, if you'd like to do that, that's fine. They give you a nice discounted rate. I believe it's definitely far less than half the normal rates, but I don't think it's quite a third the rate. So, but it's still pretty good. And if you do that, that would help support what we're doing. And we thank you very much.
Thank you.
OD says, it doesn't snow in the city I live, so I haven't seen it. I'm curious as to what city you live in, OD. So, okay, so let's see. For our question, would you like to check our question from last week? I don't even remember what our question was. Do you remember?
Oh, no.
So,
Oh, it was math. It was a math related question because I was really upset about math.
okay.
Still am, but you know.
Let's take a look at this. So, as far as you're being upset with math, is it something that you'll be able to deal with?
Yeah, it's just an eternal sort of like, why are you in my life? Why are you still here? You know, I thought I would be done with math in my first year of college, and then they just keep requiring more and more classes. It's that kind of thing. It's just a hate relationship.
I gotcha. I do know when I was going to school, you could not, even though calculators were available, you were not allowed. I don't know if you can hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just we got a lot of static coming through all of a sudden.
Static?
Like, okay, it stopped. Whatever it was, it stopped. And it was definitely coming on your end because I could see your little avatar lighting up when it happened.
I saw that too. I have no idea what's going on.
Okay.
Who's interrupting my connection?
What's that?
Is that what that means?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't hear what you said. You said something about a connection. I didn't hear what you said.
How? Well, I don't know anything about technology. I don't know what happened.
Oh, the whatever it was, it sounded like maybe you had a loose connection on your wire or something, like maybe the cable. That's what it sounded like to me, but I don't know. I'm just guessing what I heard. But it's whatever it is, it stopped. We're good now. It was very loud. That's the only reason I brought it up. So.
Ooh, I'm so sorry.
But anyway, getting back to when I was in school, calculators were not allowed in school. So I actually had some of the kids would actually have, and these were brand new at the time, a calculator watch. So we'd bring those in, wristwatch, and have the calculator, which was at the time was extremely cool because the idea of having a calculator built into a watch was so novel, so unheard of. So if you could sneak one of those into class, that's the only way you could actually sneak a calculator in for tests and things like that. So by the time I got to the point where I was teaching classes, which was much later, it was just commonplace to have calculators in class. It was no big deal. So I'm not exactly sure what the reasoning was. I guess they figured you needed to know, and a calculator, I guess they figured was cheating, but it really isn't, since when you're in the real world, you're going to be using them anyway. So I guess they finally realized that after a while. So.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder about how they wouldn't let us use our phones for cheating, because I grew up where phones were getting more sophisticated as I got older. And so my teachers usually didn't really know how to regulate like phone usage in school. And it was only in maybe the last 2 years that I was in school that they actually got like okay at regulating cheating with phones. And so I kind of wonder, like, is there going to be a time in the future when they allow phones to be used in school a lot more, maybe? I don't know.
I see. That would be something I would think you could cheat with, because you could actually type answers directly onto something like that.
Yeah, it's actually very easy, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, it's also scary in that it's like very easy to cheat with a phone, like in class, and especially with online class, because that's like our future generation of doctors and biologists and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, that would be kind of scary. The doctors know, but if it's somebody who's like maybe getting a job in something else, I guess it wouldn't be too scary though. So, but yeah, if you're dealing with bodily related occupations, such as being a doctor, you're going to be dealing with possibly cutting into somebody's body. You don't want to have somebody cheating all along.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the let's see, we got let's see, Sefer Tepi. I'm not sure. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing. It says hi. What are we talking about? We're talking about right now. We're getting ready to talk about. We're actually talking about math right now, but we're gonna talk about the movie Cars in just a little bit. Od came back and says his city is north of Brazil. We definitely have no snow and sad face. Oh,
But you're near Brazil. How
yeah,
nice is that?
yeah, yeah. The let's see. I'm not sure what the. I know it's awfully warm. I wonder if it's humid. I feel what kind of climate you would get in Brazil. If it'd be with it, if there's like close to a jungle, or just curious what kind of the humidity can sometimes be kind of be a burden, especially if you're in a warm area. That's the only thing I would think of. So.
Yeah, that's true.
And then hello from and Od told me how to pronounce this yesterday, and I've already forgotten. I apologize. I forgot Kai Kairua, I think, and I apologize. I don't remember, but hello again. Thank you for showing up again. So let's go to our question. What is your relationship with math? I love it. Wow, 48%. That's almost half. 25% I hate it and it hates me. 13% with it's complicated. 11% with we get along, and 2% with other. Comment below. Oh my goodness, 38 comments. Is that right? And a nice vote here. Over 2,000 votes. That's pretty nice. So let's put these in the newest first category. It says the math is my life is so easy. So that's what when I was a kid in elementary school, before I went to and I got into junior high school, that's the way I felt. After that, I just kind of phased out. I think I was talking about this before. Like got up to geometry and algebra, I just kind of phased out, and I just didn't really care. And then it wasn't really complicated. I just didn't want to think anymore. So I just kind of like
Right, yeah.
it became something I just didn't. It wasn't. I didn't do very good in. So see, I love maths, and you see people. Is maths the one where people? Is that the one where they say put the S at the end on a regular basis? I've heard other people do that. Do you do that?
No, that's like as far as I know, that's like a British thing. And then it's also something that Americans sometimes mock British people for doing. So
Okay.
it's also fun.
Yes. So I love maths, and everybody call me mad. Okay. Let's see. I don't know math, but I know most. Oh, I made a mistake. I'm stumbling here. I don't know math, but I the most know English. Okay.
Same.
Advanced algebra broke me. Okay. I can relate to that. Does it say? Oh goodness, I need my magnifying glass. I can't read that. Let me see. Uh, MFN. Oh, okay. I guess he's saying I'm the guy. MFN nerd. I know what he's saying there. So, I scared math.
Same. Me too.
I'm trying to read what the name is there. I don't know what that is. So, but let's see. I'm okay at it depending on what does that say?
Equation, yeah.
Yep, misspelled there. Is present. Okay, and that's Mossy Williams. Kiss Best Fan says I was doing really good, but after school I realized that only 10% of the things I learned are actually useful. Let's see. I says yay math. I'm not sure what that says. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna go a second. Okay, I had to do something there real quick, so I'm back. Okay, let me bring my magnifying glass back up. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what that says there. So it looks like he's happy, so we'll go with happy there. So I hate it. The Hugo man says I never passed a math class since the 3rd grade. Wow, really? Wow. My dad abused me, but because I got an F in math when I was in middle school, he hit me with a fishing rod and yelled at me. That doesn't sound too nice. And I always hate math, and I hate my dad. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. It's not nice. So let's see what we say here. Yeah, just people going back and forth on that one. Just going back. So random person. Oh, wait a minute. We skipped one here. Royce 316 says complicated. Angry Fang says, I know most of the guys will lie. They love maths. And he's got a lot of replies on that. So, yeah, just going back and forth. I'm not going to read all those. Bro, what if I voted? I love it. Y'all are psychopaths who deserve to burn in hell. Let's see. Josie, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Soto, I hate it. And also me and what heck school giving me on that subject.
I know what you feel. I get it.
Let's see. You misspelled meth. Okay. Pretty boys. Let's see. Let's see. And let's see. That could be a joke from Grand Theft Auto, by the way, because
Yeah.
they talk about meth and all that in the game. So, let's see, Stockholm Syndrome.
I think we read these ones then.
Yeah.
These are the recent ones. Yeah.
So we can skip this. Okay, cool. Alrighty. So okay, I'm gonna turn off my magnifying glass first. Okay, there we go. So we got more people. Okay, so getting back to OD. We did see it. Did we talk about this? My state is pretty close to the Amazon forest. No, we did not tell you this. We are in the summer now, and even rain is getting rare. Oh, okay. We got Wadi Gamer saying hi Z Moon, and comes back and says, "What is the live stream about tonight? We're going to talk about the movie Cars from 2006." And it's had Hennef says, "Hi Z Moon, hello." Don't forget Olivia. Everyone's forgetting Olivia here. Don't forget Olivia.
It's okay. I'm like grouped in.
So, how do you feel about the responses we got here? Anything you'd like to add to that?
No, I side with everyone who hates math, of course. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, I took a college course for math, and I when I walked in, it was the guy came in, very young guy, younger than me, younger than a lot of people. This was several years ago. This not anytime recent. This is long before I was even teaching classes myself. But he was obviously very well versed in math, very helpful with the math class. And I got to say, when I took it in the college level, I was probably because I wanted to succeed, whereas in high school I just didn't really care. So I put a little bit more effort into it, and when I was in high school, in the college at the college level versus the high school level. So, but I will say that a lot of the people in the class were having issues as well. So it's a common thing. I know you probably don't feel isolated for sure. I mean, there's a lot of people just have a problem with it. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of people, I just can't like bring myself to cheat so much online. Um, but I mean, like, I don't want to be a rat, but a lot of my friends just for the like last math classes that they had to take, they just did the online ones and they could just cheat. So, I mean, they don't need it for their career, so I guess it doesn't really matter, you know. But
yeah, I guess if you're going to be a scientist or mathematician or something to deal with that, you're going to obviously need it.
yeah, but then I hope you like it, you know.
Yeah, engineers going to need it too. Engineers would definitely need it. So I'm trying to think of what other careers. I'm not sure too many careers. I mean, as Kiss Best fan was saying, he only used it for like what 10%. I guess that's about right. I know periodically I'll do like little trivia things with people, and I'll talk about math, and I remember how to do certain things, but I don't remember a lot of things. That's for sure. So
Right, because you don't need most of it. Again, if we talked about this before, but if they taught you stuff, I would be so willing to get over the hating math thing if they taught me how to do things that I need to know how to do in adult life, like you know, paying bills, how to have a budget, financial math.
They didn't do that. Did they do that with you? I remember doing that when I was I think elementary school or early, maybe junior high. They showed us how to balance checkbooks and everything. Did you ever go through that?
No, they teach you how to count money, but they don't teach you like mandatorily. They don't really teach you that kind of stuff. For home ec, it's just like cooking. I think for home ec, the big project was um, sewing a. This is gonna sound weird because it is, but it was sewing a bag of sugar into a teddy bear so it simulated the weight of a baby, and you had like a teddy bear heavy teddy bear baby thing, and that was like the baby project. And you didn't even have a partner; it was like a solo thing. So it was like you were a single parent or something.
Hmm, that's
And it was
interesting.
just, I guess your goal was just to not lose it or something. I don't know.
Hmm, okay. I took everyone when you were taking home ec, was it mostly girls or was any boys in there? Because I remember we took home ec for the first. Everyone was forced to take it, and then I think later on it was just mostly girls that took it later on.
But yeah, it was everyone. It was everyone had to take it. And then I took another. That was like middle school. I took a cooking class, like a in high school. Like I don't remember what it's called, but it was like a cooking class, and that was also like a mixed group of people. I think there was actually more boys in that class than girls.
Okay. Because I remember there was like the basic home ec class, and then the later ones, like a higher level, there was almost nothing but girls in those classes, which surprised me. I thought there'd be more boys. I guess it was just I didn't I thought at the time I was thinking the because I had been told that there was the equal rights thing, and I was like I thought oh men were going to be more like oh I'm for that. I was like nope, it was just all girls, so it's kind of surprised me. But
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate that it's set up to be like cooking and house stuff that you need to know how to do as an adult just to survive is set up to be like a feminine thing, because I feel like everyone should know how to cook at least a few things.
mhm. Oh, you okay?
Yeah, just coughing a little.
Okay. Yeah, the I will say what the one home ec class I took, they had little. Did they have ovens?
Yeah, they had
Yes.
ovens, stoves. We actually like this well for our home ec class, so we had ovens, but we didn't really use them much because that was middle school. But for the
Mhm.
high school one, we actually like made like candy and burned sugar and stuff like that. It was fun. Made pizza and a bunch of different stuff.
Hmm. I don't remember disliking the home ec class when I took it. So I do remember there was some of the well, I mean, there was some bullies in the class. They were kind of annoying, but that was about that was the only thing. It wasn't the class itself. It was just the bullies trying to pick on certain people in the classroom. It got kind of annoying, but that was about it. So I think
Yeah.
you can get those in any class. I think they were there because I oddly I think they were being there because they were being punished, which is kind of strange. Why you would punish them to put them in a home ec class? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. That was so long ago, but that's what I think. I think they were forced to take it for some sort of punishment for some reason. So
That makes kind of sense because it's like here, learn some responsibility, maybe.
maybe okay. That's good. That's a good point. I didn't think of that. So
Yeah, learn how to like take care of yourself. You must be a burden on your poor mother.
let's see. We got Hazy Moon speaking about today's movie. Last week I watched a copy of Cars. It's called The Little Cars. Can you call it? You can call it the poor ugly version of Cars. Have you heard of that one? The Little Cars.
I think so. I think it was, well, I don't know. Maybe look it up and then we'll see if the pictures are
Okay, we'll do that.
bringing up any memories.
As we talk to movie, we'll bring it up. And then OD comes back and says, surprisingly, it has 4 or 5 movies of the Little Cars franchise. Although it's weird, it's entertaining. I think I'll watch the sequels. Haha. So, okay, I'll check. Yeah, we'll check that out as we review them as we get into the movie itself. So,
Right,
um,
yeah.
do you want to read the question for this week?
Yes, actually let me bring it in front of me.
While you're doing that, I'll go ahead and type it in there.
All right. How do you feel about cars? The first answer is I'm a total car person. The second choice is I know a lot about them, but I'm not obsessed. The third one is I know the brands, but not much else. And then the fourth one is I just use cars to get places. And then the fifth one is I don't care about cars.
Okay, that's cool. So, well, how would you? What category would you fall in on that?
Well, I think we talked about this like a while ago.
Okay.
Um, but I do. My dad always had me around when he would fix like the family car or whatever.
Okay.
Um,
Doesn't sound familiar, but yeah, go ahead.
so I know how to like change a tire and change the brakes, and I've changed out the oil before. Um,
It's nasty. oil
but
changes.
it's not something that I enjoy doing. Not gonna lie, I don't like laying on the floor and getting dirty.
Right.
Um, um, so, and I also do know like the brands of the cars. Like if I get an Uber, I know, what a, I don't know, what a Ford whatever is, but the specific models and stuff, I don't really know. And I know, like, I understand how how Ford and Chevrolet and some other car brands are like all owned by one, like GMC or something, is it?
Well, Ford is like one of the large what in the as far as like the Ford is one company, GM is another company, and then Fiat Chrysler is another one. So if I think that's what you're referring to. Like Ford and
Yeah, yeah.
GM are
When
actually
my
set.
dad talks about it, I half listen, so I might get some of this wrong.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So okay, so that's pretty good. Yeah, getting back to the oil change. Yeah, that is the messiest thing. In fact, that's you. I used to work on cars, and doing the oil changes was usually reserved for people who were the least experienced, like the people that were just getting into the training. So when I first started working on cars, that's where they would put me, is changing the oil. So, and then when you work your way up to working on doing other things, then you don't have to do that. That's the worst thing about working on cars, is changing the oil. That's the most messiest and annoying thing. So.
Yeah,
Uh,
I remember. I mean, I only did it like 2 or 3 times, but one of the times I worked at a pizza restaurant in high school, and I got home from my pizza restaurant shift, and my dad was like, "We're gonna change the oil in the car, and so don't change your clothes or anything."
so the fact you said you could change the brakes, that's pretty interesting. So were they disc brakes?
I don't know. I just know that we don't like the ones we have on the car now because the ceramic or something is coming off really, really fast. And they said that they were high quality, but they're not, which is annoying because I just know how to change them out. I really don't know. Like, if you asked me to buy some, I wouldn't know what to do. But because my dad just buys them and then we change them out.
Does it look like this? Something like this?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Those are disc brakes. So yeah, I figure most new cars are all disc brakes. The older one would be called drum brakes. So they're and so you pull this off. This would be your caliper, and then the brake pads would be what you would have replaced, and then this is the rotor that basically it squeezes, and that's how you slow the car down. So
Yes, yes. We had to I remember one time um there was something wrong. I don't remember what was wrong with the car. I'm not going to lie. I don't remember. Um but it was like a Ford Edge we had at the time. And this must have been like 5 years ago. So I vaguely remember. But I remember we had to take like so much of it apart, and we got down to the disc, and then we found out that we had to put it all back on because we didn't have like a certain wrench size, and we had to drive to Home Depot with the
oh
Ford Edge we were working on. And so we
oh
had to put it all back on, drive to Home Depot, get the wrench, take it all back off, and then
yeah, it's a pain. It's always when if you're you have to. Yeah, I know I can relate to you. It's a really pain in the butt having to go and do it all again. And then you come back, you have to pull it back all off again. And so yeah,
yeah.
I have this thing when I was working on cars. It was a little silly thing I would say. I would call it the rule of fives. In order to do one thing, you have to do five other things to get the one thing done. Which yeah, five other things are not really. You don't think you have to do it, but you have to do other things just to get to where you need to get the part removed. It's that would kind of fall in that category. It's just annoying. So
Yeah, and then there were other times because my dad also had like a sand belt, and so there were other times where he would just be like, you know what, just sand down one of my tools. I can get another one later. I'm just gonna sand it down and and make it fit the shape that we need, and then do it.
the tool he was going to sand down the tool itself. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, we've done it a few times where it's just like, you know what, we need something a little wider, so let's just sand it down until we get there, and
Oh,
just
okay.
use that.
Oh, oh, that works. If it works for you, that's great. Yeah, the only thing I would say is that you don't want to damage the tool if you have to use it again for something else later on. But yeah, that's great. As long as that's a good
Yeah, I
idea.
mean, sometimes, because sometimes we would be doing it and it would be late at night. or it would be getting late, and so we didn't really want to go out, or maybe we already went to Home Depot, and so we didn't want to go back, and so we'd just be like, okay, if we'll sand down the tool, it'll be fine. I'll get another one, later when it's light out, and just use this one now. And one time, oh, what is that thing called that you? I always, it's like a. I'm not good at remembering names if you can't tell already. But it's the thing that you use to get the tires off.
The lug wrench.
The ratchet. Yeah, I broke that by jumping on it too hard.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, I didn't know you could break them.
well, you probably broke it because it's probably a cheap tool. I'm assuming it's probably because those usually are pretty strong. So
Yeah, it's kind of old, I guess. But yeah, and it was cold out, so that might also have been. I don't know.
actually, if it's metal, cold would actually make it denser, which would make it harder. Actually,
Oh.
so the cold would make it denser, but if it was warmer, it probably would bend more. So colder would make it denser, so it would probably make it a little bit stronger than. But it was like, who knows? I don't know. I wasn't there, so I can't. I'm just guessing here. But
Yeah.
so but yeah, did you get hurt though? You didn't get when you broke it?
No, no.
Oh, that's good because those things give you when you're trying to pull something off and it's like it breaks and then you can really because you're putting all this effort into it and all of a sudden the force is released, your hand will go slamming into something and then you hit your knuckles and that really hurts. So
Yeah, I mean, I was so what I do is I ratchet it so it's cuz how do I explain this? I jump on it. I ratchet it onto the lug nut and then I stand on it and I jump on it to
the
make it loose because you're supposed to tighten them really really well so that they don't come off and your tire doesn't fly off while you're driving. And so I jump on it to loosen it, but you know,
there's a slightly an easier way. I know exactly what you're doing. There's a little bit easier way. You're trying to loosen up the lug nuts and they're too tight. If you
yeah,
if you have a long pole, a long piece of like maybe something that's really long, if you increase the leverage, you don't have to jump on it. If you can add something to the end of the lug wrench, you can use the leverage because if it's a longer pole, say those lug wrenches are probably only like maybe a foot or so. If you add on like 3 or 4 feet, that gives you more leverage and it'll break it loose a lot easier.
right.
That's what I usually do. So yeah, jumping on that would be a very very last resort thing. But yeah,
Oh, it's kind of fun. You know, when you don't break something, it's fun.
yeah. If you're like in a desperate situation, like you're on the side of the road and you have a flat tire and you're like you just want to get out of there, if you have something, if you can find something to give you that extra leverage, it'll probably get you out of there a lot quicker. So
Yeah.
but that's pretty cool. I'm not sure how many people I know that know how to work on cars, men or women, because when I talk to people about cars, it's some of them just give me this blank stare, and it's you're definitely up there. At least you know the basics. That's pretty cool. So.
Yes, I know the very basics, and I know you're supposed to take off the lug nuts in a star pattern. I don't remember why, but my dad told me to do it, so now I do it.
Actually, you can take them off. You can. I think you mean put them back on in a star pattern. You can take them off in any pattern you want. It's putting them back on. So.
Oh, he probably said putting them back on. He probably said both, just so I remember it. You know.
Oh, that makes okay. That's right. Yeah, the star pattern. What that does is it allows the wheel to center properly. Because if you, it will probably center correctly anyway, but it just helps it center a little bit more securely. That's all. So you don't have any. When you're done, you don't have any lug nuts to maybe loose accidentally because you didn't do it in a star pattern. That's mainly why. So
right.
So well, that's pretty cool. I mean, you really definitely know the definitely basics, which is really nice to. I mean, if you get stuck on the side of the road, I assume you would probably be able to help get yourself out of there in some way if it was something that basic. So
Yeah, I would still probably like if I could, I would just make my dad do it, but I could do it.
Have you ever seen the movie Christmas Story with Gene Shepherd, the little kid?
Is it the one with the leg lamp?
Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
They get the flat tire, and he says, "Oh fudge," but he doesn't say fudge.
Oh yeah.
they have to change the tire. So because he accidentally throws the lug nuts up into the air and they get lost.
Oh God.
So yeah, just be careful. Here's something. This is a trivia question that you can ask somebody. I'll ask you, and then you can do it to someone else. If that were to happen to you, like you're sitting on the side of the road, you had a flat tire, and you accidentally lost all your lug nuts, like on the one wheel. So there's five of them, and let's say they fell off. Let's say you're on a bridge, and somehow they fell off the bridge into the water, and there's no way you could go down and get them. So how would you get out of there? You have no lug nuts to put on the wheel now. How would you drive away?
I guess I would just try to drive without one wheel.
What you would do is you go to each of the other wheels and pull one lug nut off of each of the other wheels and put so you have three, and use those three lug nuts to hold that one wheel on. So each wheel
That's
will be missing
That's
one lug.
smarter.
Yes. So it won't be you can drive without one lug nut on each wheel for not too long. It's not going to hurt anything, but you don't want to do it for a long time, for a long period.
Right. If you're going like 35, you're probably going to be fine for a little while.
Yeah, it'll be fine. But just to get you out of there pretty quickly. If you want to ask somebody a trivia question sometime, you can outsmart them. So you'll know the answer now. So but yeah, actually, for some reason, when someone told me that question when I was very young, I didn't know the answer. So, and when they told me,
it's actually it's a good piece of advice too. I didn't think about that.
Alrighty, so does the question look good? I'm going to go ahead and post that.
Yes.
Alrighty, there we go. So, all right. So we'll come back to that. So the movie we're going to talk about tonight is the movie Cars, and so the question very relates to that. And I think I said this. I don't know if I said this when we were doing our show last week, but maybe I did. I said Cars is my favorite Pixar movie of all time.
I think so.
Yeah, and you said that Cars 2 is your favorite Pixar movie, or not? Maybe not your favorite Pixar movie, but your favorite Cars movie. Is that
yes? Correct? I watched both of them because I had the time, and yeah, it still stands. I like Pixar. I like the second one.
Interesting. So I find that interesting because a lot of people have said that the second one was just not up to speed with the first one. I personally didn't think this. I don't hate the second one, but I just didn't, because the first one to me was so good that when I saw the second one, it didn't live up to the same standard. So, but the one thing that was different about the second one was the character. Oh goodness, I forget the name. Mater. Was the main character of the second movie, which kind of threw a lot of people off too. I think they wanted Owen Wilson's character, Lightning McQueen, to be the main character, and he was just kind of like a supporting character in the second one, if that. So
I'm glad we have these talks because I did not notice that. I don't know why, but that totally went over my head. You're right. He is the main character. Yeah. I don't mind. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's not, like I said, it's probably on its own. It's not a bad movie. It's just that if you compare it to the first one, I think a lot of people like me were like, they expected something to have that kind of, have the Lightning McQueen being the main character. And I think that when they made the third one, they probably realized that. And so that's why they made him kind of like the main character again in the third one. So
I would have expected a heavier emphasis on the racing. I understand it from like a car lover's point of view to have a Cars 2 movie and have it be about spies and stuff. Like, it's cool for kids and it's cool for people like me who like spy stuff and think it's cool. Especially like the over exaggerated spy stuff that's not accurate at all. I do enjoy that. But I would understand wanting it to be more race focused, especially with a concept like they had in the second one, where it's bringing F1 and the regular America racing, whatever that is, NASCAR. Yeah, bringing those kinds of things together. That could have been, I don't know. I would have wanted it to be a little bit more on the racing side too.
Okay. Well, we got someone who's in agreement with you. OD says I like Cars too, most as well. So there you go. And we got T-Rex saying Cars 1 was the only movie. I don't care if they made more. So
I respect that.
So, like I said, I don't hate the second movie. I just think it didn't live up to the third one, and I just live up to the first one. And the third one was kind of flat, so I didn't. It's just it just seemed to be very weak. It didn't seem to have much depth to it. So,
Yeah, we don't even have to talk about the third one. We can't. We don't even have to acknowledge it because it was. I mean, it was from what I remember, it was just disappointing.
it was an interesting idea, though. I will say that, though. So, but but yeah, it just didn't seem to live up to what the first one was for me. So, but and so getting back to this movie, I have I think I've said this as well. The movie that Michael J. Fox was in, I think it was 1991, called Doc Hollywood. People have stated several times that I've not seen that movie, that Cars rips off Doc Hollywood. So
Oh,
the basic premise for the movie Doc Hollywood is Michael J. Fox. He's a young doctor. He goes into a small rural town, and he damages in that movie. He damages a fence, so he's put on. He goes on trial, and he has to fix the fence, and he's basically stuck in the town while the fence gets fixed because he damaged it with his car. And as he's there, he basically calls all the people a bunch of rubes, and he thinks they're all backwards and everything. As the movie progresses, he grows to appreciate and loves the town, and he ends up marrying a woman there, and that's where he spends the rest of his life. So
ooh, that is very familiar.
yeah, and so I didn't know that. My dad had told me that when I told him I like Cars, he said, "Oh yeah, but they just ripped off Doc Hollywood." And I said, "Well, I never saw Doc Hollywood." So, and so even if they did rip it off, I still like the movie Cars. It doesn't matter to me if they ripped it off
Yeah.
because I still like the movie itself. So, and
Yeah, it's not their fault they did it better and cooler with talking cars.
yeah, it's true.
It's
The
like who wouldn't want to see Hot Wheels come to life? Come on.
the and don't forget Matchbox as well. So the what was I gonna say? Um, I lost my train of thought there. Sorry. The uh, and when I saw one of the things about Doc Hollywood is when that movie came out, Back to the Future had just come out shortly before, like a year before, like the Back to the Future 2 and 3. And so I never saw it, but the idea of Michael J. Fox being a doctor seemed a little far fetched, only because he just played a 17-year-old. And so going from a 17-year-old to a doctor just didn't seem to make any sense to me. So, but I know it's a different movie and everything, but it just seemed kind of weird to me. So,
That's true. Yeah, it's kind of hard to like pretend like you didn't just see someone playing, a high schooler. Yeah.
so, but like I said, I've never seen the movie, so I can't comment on it. So, and the other thing I did want to add, if you go on YouTube and you type in like Cars Doc Hollywood comparison or something like that, you'll see people have actually make videos where they actually compare the two and show them how similar or disalike they actually are. So they're all over YouTube. You can see them. So
Right.
so
All
the
right. Did you want to like talk the plot
yeah
of it?
yeah. Did you want to start with that? Did you want
No,
to do
I'm
it?
not good at it.
Oh, okay. So the plot of the movie is Owen Wilson's character, which is Lightning McQueen, fresh hot rod racer. Now, the one thing I will say, there's a lot of inside information here. If you get really gotta if you're really into cars, you would really catch on to it. And I caught on to a lot of it. He's Lightning McQueen's car design is what the modern NASCAR cars look like. Um, you have what's his name over here? What's Chick?
Yes.
And he's played by, I know. Hold on a second. I know Chick. Who's Chick played by? He played Batman during the 1980s. Hold on a second. I guess it doesn't really matter. Hold on. I'm looking up the names as we speak. Uh, don't see it. Hold on. Now I gotta find it. Give me a second here. Now I gotta know. Oops, wrong one.
Okay, well, while you look it up, I just want to
Michael
clarify something. Wait,
Michael Keaton.
what?
Michael Keaton. Go ahead.
Okay, really quick. So NASCAR is they all get the same structure of the car to use, and then they have to put in their own engine or like vamp it up or something.
The from what I don't know how the modern NASCAR works exactly. I know that the cars are built by they have a lot of regulations on them nowadays, the modern NASCAR. So as far as how the new ones work, I don't know. I do know that they're built by automobile manufacturers. Some of them are, so you can actually buy them that way. You can actually buy a NASCAR and actually race it that way. So, but you obviously they're not gonna, it's not a car you would be able to drive legally on the road because it's not meant to be driven on the road. So,
Right.
or you can actually build it. They can build it themselves. And the original concepts, I'm going to jump back to answer your question. I don't know exactly how the modern ones work, but I can tell you the original concept of NASCAR dating back to when it first started. If you look at NASCAR, it's NASCAR, and it's an acronym. I don't know what it stands for exactly. You can look it up. It's not hard, but I do know that the S and the C stand for stock car. Okay,
Right.
and the reason that's important is because when the cars first came out, the original idea was you're racing stock cars that you could buy from a car dealership and race them on the track. So that's not the case anymore at all. That's not what they are. You can't buy these cars from a dealership and drive them on the road. And basically, you could a stock car in the sense they were completely stock. You could drive them either you could buy them from a dealership and just drive them on the road or drive them on the track. And that's
Right.
obviously not the case anymore. So it's evolved over the years. So why they instead of changing that, they still call it NASCAR, even though technically it's not stock car racing anymore. So um,
Right.
in during the 1960s and 70s, early 70s, up until the early 60s and 70s, there was a regulation that said that they had to sell at least 500 cars that were raced on the track to the public. So they would sell those cars to the public. They were strictly made for racing, but they'd also sell a street version that you could buy that was slightly different. So it wasn't exactly the same as the one on the track, but it was almost identical in almost every way. Very, very, very similar. So there were some slight modifications they had to make it more street legal. So, but to give you an example, the other car that he races here, right here, this guy right here, this car is this is the Dodge Daytona. So this was an actual car that they actually sold that Dodge made during the 1960s, and or was that the Plymouth Fire? Plymouth Superbird. I always get the two confused. I might be wrong in that one. But basically, they actually made a certain number of these cars and sold them to the public, and then they actually made the other ones to be raced that could be raced on this. So they actually sold these cars on this so people could buy them with the big wing and everything on them. So it looked just like that. So uh, this,
Cool.
so this is a real. These cars that they're showing here, everything you see here is based on real cars. It's not something they made up for the movie, which is really, really kind of cool. So the driver, person who's driving this, he's a real driver. Was he? King, Richard Petty. Richard Petty's voicing the picture. He's doing the voice of the king. So he's a real race car driver, and that's his real number, by the way, too, in case you're wondering. 43. So,
Cool. I would never have known.
and I'm not a stock car fan, a NASCAR fan, but I like the older NASCAR stuff because I always like the idea that you could buy a car. I like older cars from the 60s and early 70s. So the idea that you could buy a car that could be raced on the track was really cool. So and but the regulations changed during the early 70s. So eventually it got to a point where the cars that were being raced on the track were not the ones you could buy from a dealership. And that's primarily because a lot of factors, insurance regulations started to get, insurance companies were really, uh, uh, went in like the horsepower ratings on cars during the late 60s. The manufacturers were actually dumbing down the numbers so that they could sell them cheaper because if the actual horsepower was actually higher than it was. So if you bought a car from a dealership back in the 60s, they lowered the numbers so that your insurance costs would be lower. And insurance companies started cracking down on that. So they had to put the actual horsepower rating on the car. So it's kind of the regulations started to kick in on that. Also, the emission standards started to kick in. So like mid 60s, there weren't that many emission standards on cars, but by the early 70s, they were really cracking down on emissions. So they were trying to reduce the amount of pollution. So you couldn't really race a car with a lot of pollution control equipment on it. That also brought it down, and also the fuel shortage. I think you've heard of that, right? The fuel shortage.
Yeah.
There was one in the early 70s and the one in the late 70s, and because of that, people didn't want to buy cars that had big engines anymore. So there was no real reason to buy a race car anymore during the early 70s. So because of those three reasons: insurance, horsepower ratings, being brought back to, being they had to disclose the actual horsepower rating, and also because of the fuel shortage, they the whole thing about having at least 500 cars sold to the public dropped. They didn't do it anymore. So right by the mid 70s, that was no longer done. So cars that were raced in NASCAR could be anything they wanted to be. So they started to soup them up and make them really light, fiberglass, just basic frames with an engine. So they're very light compared to an actual car that you drive on the road. So they may look like an actual car, like Chick, like he's a car from the 1980s. Where's Chick? Yeah, on the right there with the green 86. He's I he's like a GM. I'm not sure what kind of car he's supposed to be exactly. But his car's from the 1980s. His car would look like a car that you could buy from a dealer, but it was nothing. It was just fiberglass, nothing but fiberglass. So the King's car would be something that you could probably actually buy from a dealer, but by the time we got to this era, it was not. So they're covering all different eras from the 1960s all the way to modern day with these cars, in case you're wondering.
That makes sense. So they're kind of trying to show how, like, to show the age of them as though they are drivers.
Mm-hmm.
With their
Exactly.
cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Perfect. You hit it right on. That's what I was going to say. Thank you for saying
Right,
that.
because I also what I know, like, just a little tiny bit more about. Not I don't know a lot about it. I don't even know a little bit about it really, but I know I saw this F1 documentary, and so I know, like, kind of a little bit about that. Um, and I know that there are, like, the ages of the drivers can vary wildly as long as they're still working out and it's not hurting them to be driving so fast for so long for each race. Then they're still, like, you can just keep going.
Mm-hmm. And the gender too. There's not just men nowadays. A lot of women. Well, not a lot. There's still moving away, but there's more women getting in as well. So.
Yeah, every now and then my dad watches dragster, like drag race cars. And there I feel like I see a lot more women getting into that.
Oh really? Oh okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I didn't know that. So I'll bring up a picture here. You can see, just so you can see. Here's the Dodge Daytona, the ones that they would sell.
Ooh, that's cool.
And those wings in the back are fully functional. In case you're wondering, it's an upside down wing. So what that does is when the car, unfortunately, if you're driving like 70 miles an hour on the highway, 65, it's not going to do anything. But once you get up to like close to 200 miles an hour, it's not. What it does is, like, if you have a wing, it creates lift, so the plane will lift off the ground. It does the exact opposite. It forces the car down to the ground, and because it has that extra force, the wheels get better traction, and so it can go a lot faster.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the back end starts flying.
Oh, yeah. If they had it the other way, yeah, it would fly. It really would. If they had it flipped the other way around, it would fly for sure.
Do some people flip it? I think some
No,
people should flip it.
I don't think people want to do that because they probably crash their car at that point.
Well, it's a risk you have to be willing to take. If you want a cool car. If you want a car that flies a little.
I think these cars are super rare. So I think the Dodge Daytona are only 500 ever made, sold to the public. And I think the Plymouth Superbird, which I'll show you right now, I think there were like maybe 1,500 ever made. So I think people are very scared to drive them in the first place because they're afraid to wreck them. So
that makes sense.
There we go. Here's the Superbird. There it is. So it looks very similar. There we go. And that's just like the one in the movie. There you go. So his is a Superbird, not a Daytona. But
why did they ever change the design? That looks like it goes 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Oh, because the regulations. What had happened was when they realized that the wings were giving the cars a huge advantage over the other cars, so they said you can't have wings on the cars anymore. So they said so after they realized how fast the cars were going with them, they told them they had to take them off.
What? Isn't that the point? The point is to go fast.
But they said that they want, basically the idea was that the race is not supposed to be about the cars per se, but more about the drivers skill, and so they're trying to make the cars more equal.
Whatever. Okay.
I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying that's the basic idea. As to why.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's those are the two cars. But let me get back over here. So, and this is like I said, I'm not a huge NASCAR fan, but I do love cars from that era. So I do like the NASCAR cars from the 60s and early 70s. So.
Yeah, and I was wondering because whenever I watched the movie, I was like, I can definitely tell that these cars are like quite different ages, but I don't know why I can tell. And now I think it makes sense because that car, I mean, now that you say it, they definitely look like that one is from the 70s, the green was from like the 80s or the 90s, and the red one is now. That
Exactly.
totally makes sense.
You got it. So, of course, as the plot moves along, we go to they're racing for the Piston Cup, and the piston, obviously, a piston is if you're familiar with the engine of a car, the piston, I think most people know, but just in case you don't, as you have each engine usually has on race cars usually about 8 cylinders, so each cylinder has a piston inside of it, and that's what essentially powers the car. So it's the piston is connected to a connecting rod to a crankshaft, and you have that's as the air fuel mixture goes in, it expands, and you have the power. So that's where they're getting the piston cup from. I don't know what the name of the cup is that they win in real life. I don't know what it's called, so I can't say. So,
The
but
NASCAR Cup.
NASCAR Cup, is that what?
I don't know. I was
Oh,
just making a joke.
I assume they get the piston cup because cars all have pistons, and since this is about cars, it would be something that they would have internally inside of them, I guess. So maybe it's something to do with that, I guess. So
Yeah, probably. And I mean, I feel like for kids, making money the reward sometimes doesn't compute as much.
mhm. So we got OD saying, is Owen Wilson the voice of McQueen? Yes, he is. And I ask because I never watched the American version, so I don't know the actors. Okay, gotcha. So as we start off, Lightning McQueen is arrogant, conceited. He says he doesn't need anybody. He can do everything himself. So he has a pit crew. The pit crew doesn't. He basically he turns them off. Because he's so arrogant that they all leave him. As his what's the truck's name? Who drives the truck? What's the truck's name?
Mac?
Mac. Yeah, Mac. Oh, I'm jumping too far ahead, I should say. So we go to the Rusties guys. We have to talk about Rusties. So the Rusties guys right here. There we go. These guys are voiced by Tom and Ray Marazzi, which are they used to do a radio show in real life. The voices, they went by Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers, and they did a radio show from the 1970s till like the early, at least the 2000s. They were on for a long time, and they would just like in the movie. I'll play a little bit. Let's see. So we don't get a copyright, but here we go.
Go bolts and freeze yarn. Hey, look, there he is!
Is here when as they're talking, you can hear them laughing on the radio show. They would always laugh just like that. They're always laughing at each other. They're always cracking jokes and doing laughing. So they're good-hearted people. They're very friendly, and what they do is their show would be on like once a week, and what they do is they take calls from people asking how to fix their cars. So, and that's why they're in this movie, because they're very well known to people in the car, like me, who like to work out, know about cars. Anybody who knows about cars knows about these two guys. They've been around that long. So let's see. So we got the Rusties there. That's his sponsor. As we move along, okay, here we go. Mac, this is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mac, he's by this point, his pit crew has already left him. He wants to get, and he doesn't like the rest of these guys because he wants to get the King's sponsor, which is the blue one. I forget what the blue one is.
The Dynaco? Yeah.
Yeah, Dynaco, yes.
Yeah, so he thinks that Rusties are ugly, so he doesn't want to be associated.
Yeah, and he can't rust anyway because he's not made out of metal that rusts like that. So, and there we go. So we got this two. I wanted to stop here. The two little chicks. Little chicky cars, I don't know what you call them, but they're the Mazda Miatas, in case you're wondering. So I've often heard that people say Mazda Miatas are female cars. So I don't know if that's true, because I actually like the Mazda Miatas from the 1990s. It's one of the few new cars I've ever liked as an adult. So maybe I like women's cars, and I don't know. But so but they are kind of like if you look at them, they're kind of cute. The ones from the 90s have this kind of cute shape to them, so I could see why people might say that. So it's probably why they had them as little girls or young, I don't know what you call them, young female fans, I guess. So from someone comparing it to the Doc Hollywood movie, someone stated that in that movie, the young women in there showed their breasts. I don't know if that's true or not. So that's what I heard. So That's what the significance is when they show their headlights. It's kind of like they're supposed to be showing their breasts like in the other movie. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, it was a movie from the 80s, so that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that also, checks out actually.
So as we go along, he's there's pit crew. We kind of skipped past the part. Oh, we forgot the very important part. Yeah, he was so arrogant because he thought he could make the race. The most important part here. He didn't go through the pit stop, so his tires ended up blowing out, and because of that, he just barely finished the race, and he almost lost the race. He would have won if he hadn't been so arrogant. Well, at least he may have won because technically he would have had to have stopped to get his tires, which would have put him behind anyway. So there's a good chance he probably would have won if he had just gone in to get his tires replaced by his pit crew, which he decided to ignore. And so because of that, there's a 3-way tie. So, and I do like how they do the tie. Let me turn this on. Yeah, like this. So I was always wondering, does the tongue really count though? But anyway, so they come in, they decide they're going to do I don't know in NASCAR if this is real. If you had a 3-way tie, if they would actually do another race again, I guess. I don't know how the rules work with that. But for the movie, that's their rules at the very least. So
it might be that they would have done another race, but I don't think they would have been able to announce it on the same day, like right after the 3-way tie, like they did in the movie.
Okay. So as we're going along, we realize he gets a call from his agent, I guess, as we would call the guy he's talking to on the phone.
Yeah.
So he's talking. He when he goes to the race, he can bring his friends and family, and that's when McQueen gets sad because he realizes he doesn't have any friends and family. So, and as they're going along, and that's the whole theme of the movie is friends, family, loyalty. Because as the story goes along, he grows and it develops friends, and that's where it goes. The cars here, they're playing. They want to play jokes on Mac because they see he's dozing off. These little cars that they have here are kind of interesting. There are people that actually do these to their cars. This is not the style of car I like, but it's always interesting to see them. So I would never do one myself. The one I would be more interested in is the one on the right that has the big supercharger sticking out the hood of it. And he keeps on sneezing and little flames coming out. So, because this somehow he gets loose. How does he get it loose? He just falls out somehow. But he comes out. He gets lost. He thinks he's following Mac, but he's not. He goes into a small town. He's getting chased by the cop. He thinks the cop is shooting at him, but it turns out the cop's car is just backfiring. So he gets even more scared. He goes into the town. He destroys the road because he gets caught in some wire, and that's when everyone realizes he's lost. Here we go. Of course, right here. We got to go back here. This is another major car reference. Where was he? Right there. J. There we go. J Limo instead of Jay Leno.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get to that real quick. Well, whatever, we saw him there. I'm probably not be able to get to it. But Jay Leno, which is Jay Leno, the talk show host, he's known very much because he has a huge car collection. He's rich and he has this big garage that he has called Jay Leno's Garage. And he stores all his cars in there. He's got a huge collection of cars. So that's why they brought him in here. So you go here. McQueen has been locked up. And as he goes to courts and he thinks he's going to get it free because he's a celebrity and everyone's going to let him go. And when the judge comes in, the judge turns out to be Doc. I forget what Doc's name is. What's Doc's name?
Doc Hudson.
Hudson, yes, because he's the Hudson Hornet, which is in real life, a very famous race car from the 1950s. So that's another real car, by the way, in case you're wondering. Because we don't know this yet, but Doc Hudson is himself a famous race car from way back in the day. He won 3 Piston Cups. And when he realizes he sees who McQueen is, he's like, I don't want to deal with this. He didn't want his past life coming into his current life, so he just wants to let him go. But the town is like, no, especially the attorney right there, who's the Porsche. I don't know what model Porsche that is, but she's a Porsche. And that's another car that's kind of like considered to be have more of a feminine quality, but not something that men. It's not usually something men like versus women like, but women like it as well. It's considered to be more of a car that men like because it has a feminine look to it. Is the best way to describe it. Whereas the Miata has more like a feminine look that appeals to women. The Porsche has a feminine look that appeals to men. If that makes any sense. So
Sort of.
yeah.
I would say that Porsche, out of the like really nice luxury cars, Porsche is like the one. If I had the money, that's what I would spend my money on.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If I like cared to buy like a super fast car.
They're like an expensive Volkswagen because they're made by the same company. So
Yeah.
Porsche, Audi, and Volkswagen are all the same. Basically, it's like you were talking about companies owning same cars. So it's like
Right.
the same kind of concepts. Like when I was younger, I used to hear people talking about putting a Porsche engine into a Volkswagen Beetle, so to make the car go faster. So that's what would be called a sleeper car. You would think it's a slow car, but it actually has a very fast engine in it. So you could go up to a traffic light and try to race somebody, and they wouldn't know you had a fast engine because they thought you had a slow car. So
Right. That's cool. I never thought about that. That would be fun.
yeah. The Porsche, what I forget what was her name? The attorney's name?
Sally.
Sally. Thank you, Sally. So Sally says, "No, we can't let him go. He's damaged the road. We need to get that fixed." So the judge says, "Yeah, we'll make him fix it." As time goes along, we gradually learn that through subtle hints, we see that I forgot the doc's name again, but Doc basically you kind of start to realize he knows more than he's letting on, and when these are just kind of little mini tidbits. You don't really need to. We can discuss this as we review the movie, but getting through the plot pretty quickly though, the we learn through subtle little hints that he knows more that he's letting on, and they take him out to the track or the dirt track, and they're going to race, and we realize that Doc knows more about racing than he lets on because he's able to. He knows that what's his name that forgot his name McQueen is going to crash because he doesn't know how to go on the curve, and he tells him he needs to turn left instead of right or whatever the expression was, and he keeps on ignoring his advice, and as the story goes along, we finally realize we keep seeing him going through here. Basically, I'm kind of jumping through this stuff. We can go back to it if we want to, but basically, he gets to learn the town. This is how he learns. He becomes from as he learns this is Mater. He gets to learn the Mater and Sally, and he gets to like them. And this is how he gets to know them because he's having to interact with them on a regular basis. But this is the key point I wanted to get to was he gets to Doc's house and he realizes that Doc is a famous race car, the famous Hudson Hornet, which I'm not as familiar with. I know of it, but I'm not familiar, so I can't give you as many details as I could say the Plymouth Superbird that we talked about before. So, but it was a famous race car from the 50s, and he tries to tell everyone he's a famous race car, and no one believes him. And then we get back to more interacting with Sally and the other cars, and he gets to be more friendly with the town. We get to the point where they show what the town used to be like before the interstate went through, and this is also based on reality. Interstate 40 when it went through Needles, California. This is all based on California, by the way, in case you're wondering. When the Interstate 40 went through California, through the desert, Route 66, and also parts of Arizona. Basically Route 66, which was the main roadway that people used, was no longer used anymore. So Route 66 was a real highway, and they mentioned it several times in this movie. Once the interstate went through, people no longer used it anymore, so nobody went through the small towns. So these small towns would dry up, and they would lose business, and they would become like ghost towns. So as it goes along, he becomes more and more friendly. He becomes a part of the town. He realizes he likes everybody, and then all of a sudden he's shoved back into his real world. Not his real world. How do you say that? He's brought back to his world, I guess you could say. And it turns out that Doc was the one that called the media so that they could come back, so he could get rid of him because he didn't want anything to do with them still. And as when they get to the track, he's have his final race. He doesn't have a pit crew, but then it turns out, oh, he does have a pit crew because Doc has changed his mind and has decided to become his crew chief. So as the race goes on, we see Chick, who's the bully in this one. He's trying to cause everyone to wreck. And we have the King, who's doing this is his final race. And as the race is going on, we have a lot of funny little moments. But the big thing about this is when the King crashes, and it's reminiscent of Doc's crash from the 1950s. And McQueen was about to win the race, but he realized he didn't want to win the race by seeing someone else suffer, by seeing the King suffer. So he went back and he pushed King so he would win the race, or at least finish the race. And everybody looks at him as the true winner, even though he actually lost the race. And at that point, the plot of the movie is the main theme of the movie is resolved in a sense, because now he understands the true meaning of having friends, family, and understanding the respect that he wasn't giving his pit crew and other people or other cars at the very beginning. And that's basically the end. And he decides to come to Radiator Springs, which is the town, and set up his operations there. I think that kind of wraps it up.
Yeah, perfect.
So, okay, now we can talk about the movie. So,
well, one of my favorite side plots, it's always been my favorite thing, was his replacement pit crew. I forget what they were called. The ones that sell the tires. Oh, Luigi and what's the little Italian cars. The ones that are really good at fixing cars. That's my favorite little side plot. I love how they get so excited about Ferraris, and it's just so adorable. And then they do their little pit stop thing when he's in the race, and he they blow all the other guys away. It's great. I love it.
Yes. And let's see. OD, I think, has another question here. See, did you watch the movie in the theaters? I think it means theaters when it came out. I only watched it on DVD a few years later. I watched the movie on play on demand. So that's the first time I saw it, was when I used to have cable. So they play on it, and eventually I just watched it on through streaming services or whatever. So how did you watch it?
I have no idea. Honestly, okay, I don't really remember a lot of, I don't remember seeing movies in theaters. I know that, we did it and it happened, but I don't remember, seeing movies for the first time usually, so.
Okay. I know I definitely...
I just kind of remember it.
Gotcha. I know I definitely did not see this in the theater for the first time, so. And also, did you guys finish the movie? LOL. No, we finished the movie. Yes, we're not finished our review of that though. So, so Luigi's Casa de la Tires. That's who we were talking about before. So, and you were talking about how I forget the little guy's name.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But yeah, I want to jump ahead to that spot where you're talking about we're at the pit stop.
Yeah, it's so fun. I love a good little proving that you can do it, you know?
Yeah, and the pit crew for Chick's for Chick's pit crew, they're just mocking the little guy, and he's sitting there ready to go. You see his eyes. He's like, he knows he looks confident, and this is the scene. Yeah, after he basically comes in for the pit stop. I can see if we can jump right here. So he loses a tire. So let's see. I'll jump ahead. Yeah. There he goes. Oh, we just missed it. Yes. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. Right here. So yeah, I'll keep on pausing. So yeah, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, there we go. And then that scene where they're like dumbfounded. So
it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
And they're really that fast in real life. Like people, but I mean, not one person, you know, but 4 people can get them on and off real fast. It's impressive.
Yeah. And It's not like your car though. It's obvious when you have your car, the lug nuts, the lug nuts are going to be greased and everything. The studs and that you're screwing everything on. There's going to be a lot of extra things on there that you wouldn't have on your regular car when you're doing it yourself to make it a lot faster. So, but yeah, you're right. It is very fast. So the and what else was there about this race? Was there anything? I don't know. I think so. The one joke that I thought was kind of funny was when McQueen was trying to tell everyone that Doc was a famous race car driver, and he said he won 3 piston cups, and Mater says he did what in a cup?
Yeah, that was great.
So
Oh, there was another thing that I noticed. Okay, so a lot of people talk about how if you think about the Cars universe a little too, just even a little bit too much, you start getting a little like weirded out. And one of the things that made me think about it was I don't remember when in the movie, or even if it was this movie or the second one, but someone says, thank the manufacturer instead of thank God. Thank the manufacturer.
wait, that's in the movie? Really?
Yes, I don't remember which one, and I don't remember where it is. I wish I did, but one car says, "Oh, thank them." Oh no, it was in this movie. It's Mac. Mac says it. He says, "Thank the manufacturer, you're here." I think it's when they found him. But
okay.
they said I just missed it. It kind of like kept flying under my radar, and then I thought about it and I was like, wait a minute. Thank the manufacturer, you know?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, but thank God, I get you. Yeah.
That's so fun. And I mean, it's like if you think about how Mater took a ride inside a helicopter, which is also alive, it's like, what's the anatomy of that? What's going on?
Yeah.
And like how cars can ride in planes and they're all alive. It's just like weird to think about. Or how they can ride on boats.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen people have those comments. When I think about the car world, I just don't think about it because it's like if you start thinking about it, it just gets kind of weird. So you just
Yeah. That's the best method. Just try not to think about it.
So here's some pictures of the real. Well, it's intermixed. So you have some pictures with from the car from the movie, and you have some that are real right here. So like I said, almost everything in this movie is based on something that's real in some way. One of the things I will say, if you noticed, whenever they showed the little insects, they showed little Volkswagen Beetles flying around with wings. Did you see insects? The Volkswagen Beetle is often referred to as the bug, a Volkswagen bug, and I do that a lot. And the reason it's called the Volkswagen Bug is because of a Disney movie that came out in 1968 called Herbie the Love Bug. Before that, they were never called bugs. It was the movie that caused people to call it the bug. I don't know if you know that. So.
Wow, does that qualify as meta? I'm trying to figure out what meta exactly is because people keep saying it. Does that qualify as meta?
You got me because I try to figure out what meta means myself. So it might if I know what meta means, but I can't say yes for sure. So.
We'll just go with it, yeah.
But and apparently I also found out, I don't know if this is true. I heard that the bug, calling a Volkswagen a bug is something that's pretty much only done in the United States. So like in other countries, they don't do that. It's called a Beetle. So.
Oh, interesting.
Because I always call it the bug. I've always ever since I was a kid. So let's see. Poppy comes back. I feel like making a movie about sentient cars. It was quite creative at the time. Okay, cool. So there's some things in the movie that that were kind of interesting, kind of funny, like the tipping the cows. Well, in this case, they're not tipping cows; they're tipping tractors. So I don't know how true it is that you can tip a cow. I've heard that that's kind of a myth. I don't know. I'm not sure. So I've heard about it. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. No, I interrupted.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna say I don't know how true it is. I just think I've heard I saw a video one time that says maybe there's not any truth to it, that maybe they don't actually tip over, but that's all I was gonna say.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of cows because in Maryland. I used to live in an area where there were a lot of cow farms, and like I met a few cows, um, and they're smart. I don't know why they would they would wake up all of a sudden and tip over.
Right.
Maybe you can scare them. Maybe the whole part where they toot after they like tip over. Maybe that's part of it because maybe if you scare a cow, maybe it'll fart. I don't know.
But what I understand was the cow sleeps standing up, and supposedly you can push them over while they're sleeping. That's what I was told. So
Right. Maybe they're heavy sleeper. I mean, I don't know. I don't think
the,
so.
there's a movie called Heathers, with I forget the two main stars. They're kind of famous stars, but they're both
Winona Ryder.
exactly. Yeah, you've seen it.
I tried to watch it and then I didn't like it that much.
Oh, okay, okay. There's a scene in there where they're tipping cows. So, and they don't actually show the cows being tipped over, but they show the manure getting splashed on her face. so,
Ew.
so, yeah, Heather's is kind of a deep, dark movie. So I would definitely, it's probably definitely an acquired taste, I guess, is the best way to put the movie. So,
Yeah. Yeah, a whole lot of people love it, so it's just me. But yeah, I also liked how in the little town there were like a few different stereotypes of kind of people that go along with the cars, like the Volkswagen van thing
oh
was a
yeah,
hippie, and then the army car was like an army fanatic, and then the lowrider was a lowrider who was good at painting the cars. I love that. Um, and then
in case you're wondering, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but in case you're wondering, the Volkswagen bus was voiced by George Carlin, the famous comedian, and then the lowrider was voiced by Cheech Marin, made famous from Cheech and Chong.
yes, I think I saw the Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke movie.
Ah, okay, okay, that was their first one. So,
And I saw one of an older George Carlin set. I saw one like pretty recently. He was just really angry. So I gotta watch earlier ones because I don't really. I mean, it's fun for some people to watch other people air grievances, but if that's all you're gonna do as a comedian, to me, it's like I'm gonna go watch something else.
he comes across angry. I don't think he's really angry though, but yeah, he can come across as angry. I think he's just trying to make a point. I think I don't really think I know what you mean about him coming across as angry. I don't think he was actually really angry though. So
Right? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just see a few comedians kind of doing that where it's like as they get older, they get angrier. I
mhm.
understand because the world doesn't like old people, but
Well, a lot of people like George Carlin, so I think he's excluded from that not people liking old people thing. So
that's true. That's true.
I wanted to say when they're paving the road, when you're paving a road, the one thing they kind of left out is they have to remove the old road surface before you can put the new one in. So you can't just put a new one over top of the old one. You have to actually go through and remove the layer. And then what they do is they grate the surface so it's kind of rigid. It's kind of like rough. So that way when the new pavement comes in, it can lock in a little bit better and tighter to the old what's down below. So they left out a lot when paving a road. It's not a big deal, but what they show you here is just putting a new pavement over top is not how you pave a road. It would not work. So,
Right.
but it's still pretty fun. Let's see. Yeah, we can go through the different cars. What else was there? Obviously, we had the Italian cars. We already talked about those. Who else was in there? The fire truck, which was he was just kind of shy. The lowrider's girlfriend. I can't remember what she was exactly.
Her name was Flo. She owned the gas station.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Then we had the police car. He was like it's like a typical like country cop kind of a thing. And then we had the older car. I can't remember her name. What was her name?
I don't remember.
But the statue in the town was her husband's, who had passed away. So, and that was the statue that basically was what he dragged through that destroyed the road, obviously in the movie.
Right.
Getting back to Cheech Marin's thing when they come up, I like when when he shows them the colors. Yeah, right there. There it was. There's see where it is. He comes over to them and he says, I can paint this, and then he drives up. It looks like it's doing something dirty, but it's not at all. Let's see. He goes around and he shows like this. You're seeing something like you're not supposed to see, but you're not really. so yeah. So that's pretty funny. And then the old car, she's incoherent and kind of losing a little bit. So she's always saying things, and people think they're talking. She's talking to someone, and she's just talking to herself most of the time. So
There was that one sweet moment when the town was all lit up and she was talking to the statue, but it wasn't like she was talking to it like a crazy old woman. She was talking to it like I think she said that she wished her husband could see it. And that was sweet.
yes.
So I think she wasn't totally insane.
No, definitely not. I agree with that. So I'm trying to get to that spot here. So where is it? And let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. This is the scene right here. Yeah, there she is. So yeah, there we go. So she's right along with them. Yeah. So so the what was I gonna say? No, I can't remember now. It's not a big deal. Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to add to the movie about what we saw here?
I don't think so. I think it's definitely like a good movie about friendship and cars. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah, and the whole thing about with McQueen, he learns the true value of what it means to have friends, obviously, and not be always like about himself. And that he proves that at the end by helping the king win by finishing the race by allowing himself to come in last. So it has that message in there, which I thought was really nice. So some people don't like this movie. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because maybe it's a blatant copy of Doc Hollywood, maybe. I don't know. But, or maybe they just don't like the story. I don't know. I've seen people just say they just hate this movie, and I'm not sure why. Can you see any reason why people would hate it?
I don't know. Haters, I guess.
Just haters?
I mean, it's like I think it's a pretty good, I think it's one of the better Disney movies that came out in, the past 20 years. It's definitely up there.
Yeah, I agree. And I will say changing the subject a little bit, these scenes at the end where they're just saying, I've not seen these other movies, so I assume there's a lot of inside jokes here as to how these are. So I may have seen I never saw Monster, so I never saw that. I know what the movie is that they're referencing. So I've never seen, was one called Bug's Life. I think I may have seen that, but I don't remember. So
I love that movie. I love bugs.
was were there a lot of this one right there? There it was. But yeah, were the jokes making sense to you?
I didn't watch those. I didn't watch the end credits, honestly.
Oh.
I usually do, but I figured that at this point they weren't doing the like blooper reels anymore. I guess they are.
Yeah.
Or doing like the end credit like extra parts. But yeah, I guess next time I'll have to sit and watch the rest of the thing.
Yeah, it looked fun. If I could get the jokes, there were jokes there, but I didn't fully catch them. Only because I've never seen the other movie. Obviously, it was just they're showing scenes from those other movies, substituting the characters with car characters, basically.
Right.
Let's see. And OD came back, said, "Hey, before finishing the conversation, would you have a look at? Oh yeah, the Little Cars movie. Yes, let's do that. Thank you." I was doing that earlier. In fact, I brought up some of the images. Here we go. There we go.
Oh my god. Yeah. I saw like a funny little review about this movie. This is just like who would do this? You know, why would you spend your time on this?
Capitalize off of popularity or something else, obviously. So
Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes.
yeah,
It's scary. It's scary. You can't give that to your kid.
Someone pointed out that before the movie Cars came out, that the eyes were usually associated with the headlights of the vehicle, and Cars was like the first time that they, I'm not sure if it was, but maybe was the first time that they made the headlights, the eyes where the windshield was located instead. So, and
yeah, and I think that gives it a little bit more of a human, like, touch, you know. Because that's where the human sees out of. The human doesn't see out of the headlights.
Oh, good point. Good point. And then the thing is, I was bringing that up because you could see that they also copied. That's obviously a blatant copy.
Yeah, they gave him eyebrows that don't attach to the car. Clearly.
Yeah, I've not seen this. You got the hippie, you got the van with the peace symbol on it, like just like the Volkswagen, just like in the other one. So interesting. Only in this case, it looks like it's a little tow truck. OD has another comment here. I mean, who is McQueen compared to these monsters? Ha. There was
I mean, it's with these movies. I understand they're trying to rip it off. I just really don't understand what their target audience is, other than people who like watching crap movies, which is a respectable hobby. But it's like, why?
I'm wondering. I'm not going to watch them most likely, but I'm wondering how much detail to attention they did, if they gave any attention to the cars that were in those movies. Because I'm looking at them, I can't tell what these cars are. They look very generic or cartoonish. Like I can tell you that in the movie Cars, every car that's in the movie is based on something in real life. So, and these look like they made their own. Like these are like a lot of them. They're just, the Volkswagen is obviously a Volkswagen, but this, I have no idea what that is. These other cars in the background, I don't know. This one kind of looks like something, maybe like a 58 Chevy, but these other cars, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like they just made whatever they want to. So they didn't put as much detail. They didn't pay as much attention to the detail of the real world cars when they made their version.
Oh yeah, definitely not. I mean, did not have the team that Disney or Pixar has. So.
So, and let's see. Is to say, what do you say? I have to say, it's not bad movies. They are entertaining. Oh, okay, interesting. And I watched the first. I didn't get bored at all. Okay,
That's good.
interesting. That's interesting to know. So I'm probably not going to watch it though. So sorry. But thanks for bringing that to our attention there. We've enjoyed that. So, all right. So how would you give this movie? Now I know you said you like the second one better. So how about we rate these movies in relation to all three? I guess
all three.
Cars movies.
Well, I'm gonna go with the third one being. Let's give it a 3 out of 10. I don't really like. I wouldn't like. I wouldn't feel like I was writhing if I was forced to watch it, but I wouldn't watch it on purpose. The second.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was the third movie you're talking about, or this movie?
The third.
Okay, third. Okay, let me make sure.
Yeah, the third gets a 3.
Okay.
The second one, I would give the second one maybe like a 7.5. I like the spy stuff. I don't care if it's realistic. And I like Mater, and I like how he realizes how people see him, and he kind of overcomes that difficulty. And then I would give, I said 7.5 for that one. I would give the first Cars movie a 7.
Oh, so they're pretty close then. That's really close.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would probably like watch the first one and then the second one consecutively. And I would like to see both of them at the same time ish,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
what would you rate them?
I would say I would give the first movie, I'd probably give it more like an 8.5, and the second one more like a 7.5. And the third one, I don't know, I've always saw the third one, so I'm not even going to rate it. I'll just leave it alone. I just don't really.
That's fair.
The second movie, I will say this: they had, which something they didn't have in the first movie. They had a Mustang in there, a '65 Mustang, because I was looking for that because that's one of my favorite cars. So in the second movie, here it is right here. So that's a '65 Mustang. So I was looking. I was hoping to see a Mustang in the first Cars movie, but there wasn't one there. I was kind of disappointed because that's, like I said, it's one of my favorite cars. So, but that was a nice thing to see that they've added to the second movie there.
Yeah.
So, and let's see, what's that? That's a '67 Mustang. It looks like. Was that in Cars? Was that in? Do you remember that one?
I don't remember.
Okay. There's a famous, or it might not be that famous nowadays, but a song from the past called Mustang. Oh, you might know Mustang Sally.
I do not.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if you're a fan of classic music, so classic rock type music or pop music. So
I am. I just haven't heard that one.
okay, so yeah, that's why I wasn't sure. But that's, you can see it says Mustang or Sally Mustang, so it's based on that song. I think the song is based on a. I want to say it's the song. I think the song is what established that name Mustang Sally. I think, but I'm not 100% sure. So, I don't know if the song came first or the name is what came first. I don't know. But anyway, that's the one thing I do remember about that movie is like they had a Mustang and I was like all excited to see that for some reason. Alrighty, we can go ahead and take a look at our question from earlier, see what kind of results we got here. Let's see. All right. So, oh, nice. 138 votes. That's pretty nice. No comments yet so far, though. Let me double check. Yeah, no comments. How do you feel about Cars? And overwhelmingly, or more than half anyway, yeah, 57% says I know the brands, but not much else. 25% I'm a total car person. 8% with I know a lot about them, but I'm not obsessed. And 7% with I just use the cars to get places. And 4% I don't care about cars. Okay.
That makes sense considering, GTA is a car game and that's the main thing about your channel. So
That's true. The cars in the Grand Theft Auto games are not real cars in real life, but they are often modeled after. They often have stylings that are similar to cars in real life. So they're not, and it's very, you can see the similarities, but there'll also be some significant differences. So they don't look exactly like the cars that would see in the real world. So
right, that makes sense.
and see, it says I watched the first. Okay, I didn't put it on. And then we go over here. It says thanks, Simon and Olivia, for your impressions. You are great. Haha. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, alrighty. So everyone, thank you for watching. And if you'd like to support us, please check out the link in the description for NordVPN. We really appreciate that. And that's it for this week. We'll see you. Anything else you'd like to add before we go?
Thanks for watching.
All right, thanks, everybody.